Okay, we are live. Tonight I figured I'd go over some strange coincidences that I've been reading about. And some of these stories are going to sound unbelievable. Especially if they're personal stories that I have experienced myself. So tonight, it's like, the title of it is Strange Stories. Now all of these stories, they're not stories, they're true stories actually. They're all strange, they're all true, and that's what makes them even stranger, because they are true. The first strange story that I want to talk about is Brittany Murphy. Now, she was the star of King of the Hill. She played Luann on King of the Hill. So, Brittany Murphy was the star of Clueless. She was also on King of the Hill. She played Luann. In 2009, shortly before King of the Hill ended, she passed away. So, she died of, they say, pneumonia or this some strange phenomenon. She was young, in her early 30s, and she just passed away. Well, 5 months later, her husband passes away. Get this. Just 5 months later, her husband dies of the same thing. Not only that, he died in the same room in their house. She died in her bedroom. That's where he was at when he died. Just 5 months later from the exact same thing. Now, you can look this up. Google search King of the Hill. Then you Google search of Brittany Murphy and the strange story surrounding her death, the death of her husband. It's very strange, but very true. So I just thought, that is very weird. Her husband dies of the same thing 5 months later in the exact same room she did. That's just strange. That to me spooky, but it's true. And that's Brittany Murphy's story. Another story that happened, strange stories, but very true. All of these stories I'm telling you, to my knowledge, are absolutely true. You can Google search them all. Now let's talk about Christopher Reeve, the man who played Superman. Now, George Reeve committed suicide. Now, Christopher Reeve apparently had a horseback accident. He was on horseback and he got knocked off the horse. And you know the story. He became paralyzed. Well, he also made a few appearances on Smallville, which gave Smallville a huge boost. But here's a strange story about what happened next. He passes away. You can look up Christopher Reeve when he died. 1 year later, his wife passes away. But this story gets even stranger, because their son was adopted by Robin Williams. Like I said, the story is about to get even weirder. So his wife passes away 1 year after he does. Then their son, who is adopted by Robin Williams. Now we know what happens to Robin Williams, right? He died of asphyxiation. What's strange about that is he played in a movie just a few months previous to his death. He played the role of a father whose son, I think, commits suicide by asphyxiation. I'm not going to go into the details of asphyxiation. It's very strange that he should play in a movie. He plays the role of a father whose son is going through depression and whatever, and takes his life or something like that. And then a few months later, Robin Williams does the very same thing that another character in the film did. I just thought that was strange. And I feel bad for the son of Christopher Reeve, because his dad dies, his mother dies, then his godfather dies, because he was adopted by Robin Williams, and then Robin Williams hangs himself. Very strange. You can look this up. It's all true. All of it. Look up how Christopher Reeve passed away. Then a year later, his wife. Then his son gets adopted by Robin Williams, who happens to commit suicide. It's all very, very, very bizarre. Like I said, tonight's episode is called Strange Stories, but all true. You can look all of this up. Another one that I want to talk about, and then we talked about Christopher Reeve. Who else did I want to mention? Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher. She dies, right? She passes away. The very next day, her mom passes away. Don't you think that's a little strange? Don't you think that's kind of a strange coincidence that Princess Leia would pass away and then the next day her mom dies? I do. I just, when I heard the news, I was like, what? First the daughter dies, then the mother dies the next day? Wow, that's incredible. Oh, and by the way, smash that like button and comment below. I need those likes and I need those comments. So, hello Kelly. Hello Sandra. So, the next story, now that I've told the story of a short but brief one about Carrie Fisher. Like I said, she dies. The next day her mom dies. Now let's go to the story of one of the characters from the movie The Karate Kid. Another strange but true story. In the Karate Kid movie, the first one, there is a character in the movie, and he says this. He's one of the Cobra Kai characters, and he says this: "Body bag, yeah." Well, that exact character, 34 years later, in the TV series Cobra Kai, which is now on Netflix, season 3 is soon to come out. Now, that very character in season 2 of Cobra Kai dies, and he gets carried away in a body bag. It's a strange coincidence that 34 years previously he would say the word body bag, yeah, and then dies in the TV series 34 years later. That exact character. And then in real life, just a few months later after that show aired, the actor who played that role dies. Now, it could be that the producers knew that the actor who played the character may have had cancer or whatever it is he had, and they gave him a final farewell. It could very well be. Otherwise, it's a strange but true phenomenon. You can Google search Karate Kid and what happened to one of the Cobra Kai cast members as the very character that said the word body bag, yeah. So, it's just strange. Like I said, tonight, all these stories all happen. All true, 100% accurate. Now, I've also had strange things happen to me that I can't explain. Just the other day, I was at work, and there was music playing on the radio, I guess. And it was George Thorogood and the Destroyers. And I was talking to this guy, and one of my customers says, I believe that's George Thorogood. He says, yeah, I went to go see George Thorogood years ago. And he was the opening band for the Allman Brothers. Well, the very next song that would play just a couple of minutes later after we just mentioned it would be the Allman Brothers. The very next song after they played George Thorogood, the Allman Brothers comes on. We just talked about it. We just mentioned it. And the guy mentioned that George Thorogood was the opening band for the Allman Brothers. It's a coincidence they were playing George Thorogood right before the Allman Brothers. And we just mentioned it. And by a remarkable coincidence, the Allman Brothers comes on the radio. I thought, that is weird. We just mentioned it. We just talked about it. And yet, it happened. I can't explain it. I don't have a rational explanation for any of it. Let's see, what else happened to me? This happened a few months ago. Me and a co-worker were talking about a customer we haven't seen in a couple of years. Okay. The very next day, that very customer we had just talked about shows up. Because Mary and I were talking about how we haven't seen this particular person in 3-4 years. And the very next day, that person shows up on our front door. We just mentioned him the day before. Not only that, he came in and he asked for Mary. I said, well, Mary's got the day off today. So Mary's got the day off today. But no sooner did I say that than 60 seconds later, or less than that, Mary shows up through the front door. He just asked for her, and she shows up through the front door. This really happened. I'm going, that's really strange. First, Mary and I just mentioned this guy. Then the next day, this guy comes in. We haven't seen him in years. He asked for Mary. Mary happened to be off that day at a doctor's appointment. And then she shows up at the front door less than 60 seconds after he asked for her. She shows up right through the front door. I'm going, that's really strange. That's really, really strange. Okay, here's another one. I was at Sunday night service at my church, right? Where I was talking about how I haven't heard from my friend Mark in months. I haven't heard from my friend Mark in at least 6 months. And my tablet was nowhere near me. I mean, I didn't have it on me or anything like that. So, because tablets and phones have a way of spying on you. Well, I get home, and there was a message on Messenger from Mark. Wait a minute. I just mentioned him less than 20 minutes ago at church. When I got home, I had a message from Mark, and I haven't heard from Mark in months. Now, I just thought, that's a strange coincidence. I'm going, that can't be. I just talked about him. I just mentioned him. And he shows up and sends me a message on Messenger. Now, that's just a weird but strange coincidence. But yet, it happened just that way. And then another one happened to me just recently. Another strange coincidence. Now, these things happen. I'd love to hear your story. So leave me comments of strange coincidence, things you have said or thought about, and then it would actually come to pass. I'd love to hear your story. Another thing that happened to me was I was at church, and I was mentioned, because I'd be starting a Teespring store. I got some t-shirt designs ready to go now. So I did do is go online through my YouTube and Google account and set up an account with Teespring, send in my designs, and I'm set to go. I was watching some tutorials today on how to set my Teespring store. Well, I'd mentioned this Teespring store to just 3 or 4 people. And then one of the people I'd mentioned it to, I thought about asking them because they are good at creative writing. I thought it'd be cool if, they could help me out with some slogans and catchphrases and whatever, and taglines. Right now, every time I hear something I think is a good idea for a t-shirt, I write it down. I got this pad I take with me to work every day now, and pen. And if I hear something, I write it down right then and there, because it could be a good idea for a t-shirt. And I'm not going to give away my ideas because my lawyer is still copywriting them. As soon as I have my copyrights and I get them uploaded, and then you got to have a lawyer because you got to protect your intellectual property. So I was thinking in my brain about a particular individual. I wanted to ask if they would like to help me make t-shirts. Well, this exact individual I was thinking about in my brain. Now, I didn't say anything. I just merely mentioned it to someone, and then this individual heard me, and I just mentioned it to them as well. Hey, I'm so excited. I'm starting a Teespring store. I'm going to be designing t-shirts. And then this individual says to me, I would love to help you make your t-shirts. Oh, yeah, I'll help design them and help write your taglines and catchphrases and help you make t-shirts. Now, how could this person have known that I was thinking of them? Without me asking them, they volunteered to help me. There's no way they could have known. I was only thinking it in my head. And then they'd say, hey, I want to help you make t-shirts. Like, what? I can help you write the taglines because I'm good at creative writing. And so I'm going, there's no way this individual could have known that. There's no way they could have known that. Like I said, there's no way Mark could have known I was talking about him. He was miles away on another continent, and he sends me a message on Messenger. Hundreds of miles away, and he sends me, I just mentioned him 20 minutes earlier. Now, how could that possibly be? How can Mark just send me a message out of the blue? Just like that. Now, why can't I speak $1 million into existence? Huh? Why can't I do that? Why can't I just say $1 million, $1 million? Speak it into existence. I have this habit of speaking everything else. I'm either thinking about it or whatever. And like I said, all these stories all happen. I mean, every one of them. Another one I'm going to talk about is very, very personal. And it still puzzles me to this day. Now, everybody knows my wife passed away in January of 2019. But what you don't know is this, and this is all very strange and very personal and very true. I've got death certificates to back all of this up. A year before my wife passed away, September the 10th, I believe it was in 2017, her mother, Lisa, passes away. She was in a nursing home, and it was Nicole's biological mother, Lisa. We were in the room when she died. We didn't even know she died right there when we were there. Nicole was there, I was there, and Nicole was visiting with her mother in the nursing home. And her mother mentioned something about seeing Jesus, that she saw angels. My mother did the same thing when we watched my mom die. She said there were angels in the room. The angels had come. And then Lisa was going out the same way that my mother did. So I'm going, that's really strange. And I thought nothing of it. And then Lisa dozed off. Nicole and I had no knowledge that she'd passed away right there in front of us. We didn't know. We left there. We found out that her mom passed away. This was in 2017. A year before then, in 2016, Nicole's biological father, David Pertouche, passes away. David, her dad, was the drummer for Pat Pending, a local rock and roll band. They would play at Archie's every weekend. Now, so her dad dies in 2016. Her mom in 2017. Then a little over a year later, Nicole dies in January of 2019. So, dad, mom, daughter. Now, Nicole has a brother named Coy. A year after Nicole passes away, her brother Coy passes away. Coy was staying at Wilson's Creek nursing home. And I got the news about 6 months ago or so, maybe a little over that Coy had passed away. So within 3 years, the whole family had died. Nicole's dad dies, then her mom, then Nicole, then her brother. This is all true, all within a year of each other. The whole family, even the cat and the dog. Even her Uncle Joe. Lisa's brother, Joe Trevi, passes away. He passed away right there at the house with Lisa. He died on the couch. It's all strange, but all true. So in 2016, David dies. And then a year later, Lisa dies. And then in about 16 months later, Nicole dies. And then about a year later, her brother Coy passes away. The whole family, all within 3 years' time. Mother, dad, and their 2 children, even the cat and the dog, all pass away. Yeah, even the cat and the dog. I just thought that was strange. I have death certificates to back all this up. And I just thought, that's just really weird. I know I miss Nicole every day, and I'm thinking maybe it was meant to be, because both her parents passed away. And I knew that, Nicole was heartbroken over the death of her mom and dad. First her dad, then her mom. And then a few months later, after Nicole dies, or I think the next year, her brother dies. Yeah, it was the next year. Nicole died in 2019. Her brother passed away in 2020. So, the whole family, and that's personal. And I have no explanation for any of that. Like I said, it would have been a Halloween type of program I'm putting on tonight about strange stories. These are strange phenomena that have happened to me. Have you had strange phenomenon happen to you? I want everybody to leave something in the comments. Send me a story. Smash that like button. Leave comments below. Have you had anything strange happen to you that you can't explain? Either you said something and it came true, or there just been strange coincidences that you just don't have an explanation for. And that's what happened to me. I witnessed unusual things that I cannot explain. For the likes of me, I can't. And the latest one was, I was at the restaurant and a buddy of mine were talking about a song we were hearing on the radio by George Thorogood. And he mentioned he went to go see George Thorogood, and they were the opening band for the Allman Brothers. And the very next song they would play on the radio, we just mentioned it, was the Allman Brothers Band. And what's odd is he said that the George Thorogood was the opening band for the Allman Brothers. And when the Allman Brothers played, the very next play was the Allman Brothers. George Thorogood was just played right before them. Just like the Guys concert. George Thorogood, then the Allman Brothers. And that's what happened on the radio. We just mentioned it, and then the Allman Brothers came on. We just talked about it. We just mentioned it. Can't explain it. Can't explain it. It's like Mary and I talking about a particular customer we haven't seen in a long, long time. And the next day they come through that door. He asked for Mary. Mary happened to be off that day, but less than 60 seconds later, she walks through that front door. I can't explain it. I can't. I don't have an explanation for why these things happen. You say something and it comes true. And why can't I speak $1 million into existence and it just comes true? I don't know. I mean, what story do you have? I want everybody to leave comments, smash that like button, because I want to hear your story. What strange phenomenon happened to you? What is it that you said or did that you just don't have an explanation for? Like I said earlier, I was going on about what happened to Superman, right? Christopher Reeve dies. A year later, his wife dies. And then their son is adopted by Robin Williams, who hangs himself. But just a few months earlier, he played in a movie he played the role of a father whose son commits suicide by hanging. Don't you think that's a little strange? I don't know. I don't know. When Brittany Murphy passed away, who played Luann, 5 months later, her husband dies of the same thing in the same room, in Brittany's bedroom. Right where Brittany died, 5 months later, her husband dies in the exact room with the exact same thing. 5 months later. almost to the day. Now, don't you think that's a little strange? Carrie Fisher, when she dies, the very next day her mother passes away. Don't you think that's a little strange? I mean, there are things that I have seen I can't explain. I don't know. These are strange stories, all true. Either they've happened to me, or I've seen them on TV, on the news, and I just thought, oh, that's a little strange. Even in the Karate Kid, the guy that said, "Body bag, yeah." 34 years later, that exact character dies in Cobra Kai. A few months later, the actor who played that character dies. I believe he died of the very same thing he died of in the series. Maybe the producers know they gave him a final farewell. That could very well be. I don't know. You have to Google it. But I know these stories all happen, and they're all true. Now, I could sit here and tell you ghost stories. I don't have one. I don't believe in them. But what I'm telling you tonight are just strange but true coincidences that I just don't have an explanation for it. There have been a few other things that have happened in my life. I've forgotten about them. Strange stories. I mean, how about the day I was born? My dad says the day I was born in Stoughton, Wisconsin, and I came in like a lion. A tornado ripped through the town the day that I was being born. It ripped through, and so I came in like a lion. Strange but true story. At the exact same time I was being born, a national tragedy was happening at Palo Alto, California. Long before there was Columbine, another tragedy was taking place at a high school. Long before Columbine. Let's see, years ago, my in-laws were getting ready to move back to their old farm. Rayburn Myers had just taken his portable welder, Seymour, over there. I suddenly knew it would get stolen from the shed. I told everyone it was going to be stolen. It was stolen a couple of days later. Huh. Cool. Thanks. Does anybody else have a story? Let's see. Kelly was just telling how years ago that her dad had a portable welder. She thought it might get stolen. 2 days later, it was stolen from the shed. She just had an inclination of it. And so, yeah. So keep those stories coming in. I like to hear them. Because these things have happened to me. Like I said, my friend Mark contacted me. First time in months. I just mentioned him 20 minutes ago. I can't explain that. Kelly says, I often know things in advance of them happening. Well, I wished I could. Man, I wished I could know the future sometimes. I could pick the winning horse or the winning football team. And if I could just get that sports almanac. If I could just have that sports almanac from Back to the Future. Of course, it's already 2020. Wouldn't do any good. But I can get my DeLorean with that sports almanac, go back to the year 1985 and get rich. Why not? What is that character's name? Biff Tanner? Biff? If I could just get that sports almanac. If I just know in advance what team's going to win. If I could just get that sports almanac away from Biff. Get my DeLorean, go back to 1985 and bet on the horses, bet on the team. Of course, in real life, after you place 3 or 4 bets, they won't let you bet anymore. They know this. You must know something. So that's a fairy tale, because in real life, they'd either ban you from betting, or you would get whacked because you know too much. You know something, so you would get. Biff probably will either be dead or banned from, because once you win a few too many times, you're going to be banned. Hopefully you've invested your money well, or you'll get Yeah. Yeah, because in real life, that's what would have happened. Biff would probably end up dead because he knows too much. So they would whack him or ban him from betting at all. Nobody would bet with him. And that's what would have happened to Biff Tanner in real life. If someone tried to do that in real life, they would suspect him of crimes. The feds would go after him. The mafia would be after him. Yeah. So what happened in the movie Back to the Future, that's fantasy. Because Biff would have been whacked. Because he knows too much. That sports almanac would actually get you in trouble. You place 2 or 3 bets and you better quit. After that, take the money and then live. Maybe I wouldn't bet more than 3 bets. After the 3rd bet, leave. Stop betting. Take your money, invest it in other things. Otherwise, yeah. I mean, that's real life. I'm just saying. They would suspect you of fraud. And you would never hear the end of it. You probably wouldn't live. The mafia would. So, yeah. That's just a movie. That's fantasy. But like I was saying, these things have happened to me in real life. For the likes of me, I can't explain any of the things that have happened to me or to the celebrities I've talked about. I wish I could know things in advance. My wife is in heaven. She's with God. And like I said, a year before she died, her mom died. A year before her mom died, her dad died. A year after Nicole passed away, her brother passes away. The whole family went. And I'm just like, it puzzles me. And when I heard her brother died, I got spooked. Because I'm going, that's the whole family. Oh my God. The mom, dad, their 2 kids. The whole family within 3 years. I thought that was just a little strange. I have death certificates to back all this up. And so, I just can't, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I really don't. My side of the family, everybody's alive and kicking. We haven't had any strange phenomenon. We haven't had a series of deaths. The last person to pass away in my personal family was my mother in 2010 and my wife in 2019 by marriage. But like I said, no one's died in quite a while. We're all still alive. I got a grandmother that's almost 100 years old. So death does not plague us. I mean, people do die. Of course they do. But longevity runs in my family. My dad's in his 70s. I got a grandmother I think is still alive in Lebanon, Missouri. I'm not sure. But yeah. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Smash that like button. I was only on the air 30 minutes. I said everything I wanted to say. I don't want to repeat myself because of the playback. I may do a YouTube. I may just download this and upload it into YouTube. So I just, like I said, these stories I've told you, all true. And you can look up every one of them. You look up the Karate Kid, look up Christopher Reeve, you can look up Brittany Murphy, look up Carrie Fisher. All of this can be Google searched. Every one of these stories. Even Robin Williams can be looked up. What happened to him? What was the last movie he played in before he died? Strange coincidence that he would play the father of a son who commits suicide by asphyxiation. And then Robin Williams would do the same thing a few months later. Who would have known? And I feel really bad for Christopher Reeve's son. Losing both his parents and his godfather. His foster parent as well. And that's got to be hard on any kid. He's all grown up now, but imagine living through that. I just can't imagine. I just can't. So leave comments below. I know there's going to be on the playback, people can still leave comments. I was at the casino and the slot machine really attracted me. I sat down to play it. On the 3rd bet, I won $2,198. Thanks. Awesome. See more. Okay. Weird, right? I'd never won a jackpot ever before. Cool. Thank you, Kelly. Yeah. I've won something one time. Two times I won a contest. I've only won 2 contests. Years ago, I won a color TV from the Battlefield Mall. I guess I filled out one of these pieces of paper, you'd see at the mall. Threw it in the little box. Little did I know, hey, I won a 27-inch color TV. That was supposed to be a big TV. That was 20-some years ago. That TV no longer exists, but it was a Sony TV, one of the best. I'd won this TV set. Awesome. My wife and I won $500 from Bass Pro. How did we do that? Because we kept the receipt. Every time you go to the store, check your receipts. There's a contest on there. We checked our receipt one day, and there was a contest on a little itty-bitty writing, and you could win $500. Went on the laptop, put in our code, whatever we're supposed to do, and we won $500 from Bass Pro. All because we saved the receipt. We almost won another prize because we checked the bottle caps. My wife used to drink Sprite. And they had a contest going they didn't advertise. We looked at the bottom of the bottle cap. We looked inside the bottle cap. And there was a number in there. We went to Sprite.com. And sure enough, there's a contest going. We entered that number. We didn't win, but we found out there was a contest going. There are sweepstakes and contests going all the time. I won $500 by checking my receipt. Your Walmart receipts, if you look very closely, you could win $1,000. Dollar Tree, I think you could win $1,000. Walgreens, you check your receipts from Walgreens. I think it's Walgreens. Yeah, you could win $3,000. You check your receipts every time you go somewhere. Check those receipts. Even McDonald's, you could win a quarter pounder, a shake, an order of fries, a Happy Meal. There's contests going on all the time you guys don't even know about. That $500 we won, that all because we saved our receipt and we entered the contest. When most people won't even make the effort, but we did. So check your receipts. Check everything. There are contests you don't even know about. They don't advertise them. It's up to you to find out. I know there are people that do the coupon thing. My wife and I, after winning $500, we started saving all our receipts. And we go on the laptop or the desktop, enter in our codes. It only takes a few minutes. Bada boom, bada bing. We didn't win again. We figured that's a one-time lucky streak. But, yeah, save them. It's been an honor talking to all of you. I'm glad I got to share these strange stories. I'm going to go ahead and end this now. Smash the like button. Leave your comments below, because those comments are what Facebook reads as post engagement. And that boosts my ratings when you leave comments. You may not know that, but that is true. And that's how you support my network. Won't be long. I'll have a Teespring store on YouTube. Can't wait for that. I've got some designs already ready to go. It's a matter of setting it all up. And yes, I'm excited about that. It's an extra way to make some extra money on YouTube. And I may start doing YouTube Live with Super Chat. Oh yeah, I'm working on Zeus. Not Zeus. Zoom. I don't know why I said that. Zoom is. I'm going to have an interactive experience. Well, hopefully soon I'll be doing Facebook Live from Zoom, and then people can join me, and we'll have a total interactive thing going on. You can join me on screen. We can talk back and forth. You can leave comments. And it's going to be a fun experience. I can't wait to interact with all of you and do something different maybe the other YouTubers aren't doing. So, anyway, thank you.